Balance the whole vibrations to everybody. Welcome back to Well Versed and Reserved. Well Versed TV, Synchronicity Studios LLC. Today is quite an intriguing day. A lot of events have taken place since this morning, and tests of strength and tests of integrity and tests of dedication, I feel, have transpired today in my life. And I felt it was only necessary to record this episode and just kind of express some internal thought, some, question some ideologies. Because in life, I feel like a lot of people feel that there isn't any likeliness between one another, that everybody feels different. They feel so unique. They feel so different because they may, look the same, or their size shape is different, or their monetary status and their social status is different. And the exterior of who they are is whatever it may be. And they have whatever opportunities due to race, education, work, whatever it may be. And they want to have this pretentious air of themselves to say, well, I'm not like you, I'm not of you. But today, the question on Well Versed TV, on Well Versed and Reserved, is what truly separates you and I? What truly is that space between us? This air. What truly is this air? This skin, this material, what truly is it that separates you and I? Now, let's examine the concept of the soul. What is the soul? I believe we talked about this before. And for me, the soul is consciousness. The soul is being. The soul is existence. And there is existence, there is being in everything. There is consciousness in everything. The consciousness that is of a human experience who has their visual cortex, their visual abilities. We see, feel, sense reality as an individual entity. But that phenomena of having that individuality, that soul, that consciousness, is the soul. So other people have that. They have their own little worlds, their own little universes of themselves, that we come together and live in this grander universe. But for some reason, because we all have that individuality, people try and measure each other on this spectrum of good and bad, of, well, we're greater or you're lesser because of this. And we're not the same because I have this, I'm able to do this, and you do this, and you lack this, and I gain this. But truly that's not what separates us. Because through soul, through being, through consciousness, through existing, we are all connected. Because when death arrives and this being leaves this body, where do you think it goes? Where does this soul go? Where does this existence go? You think the power just turns off, that energy just snaps like this and is gone? Do you believe that there is a transcendence? Do you believe that there is a greater message delivered in death, with the truth that there is no true separation between you and I? And in Hinduism, that is the illusion, that's a Maya. Anything in this material world, in the mental plane, in the spiritual world, that takes you away from spirituality, from spiritual truth, and knowing that we are all connected through soul. We are all connected through the universe. And that these subjective experiences of emotions and dreams and thoughts and beliefs and opinions, all these things is what takes us away from that truth. The ego, the sense of self, is what takes us away from knowing the truth. And it's unfortunate and it's daunting to see how pervasive this selfishness is in life, and how love and harmony is being manipulated and misinterpreted and misunderstood because people resonate and relish more in their sense of self rather than in the sense of we and I. And you have all these political parties pushing these ideologies and thinking, oh, well, we the people need this, we the people need this. And really what we need, the people need, is seeing no separation between everyone. And it's, people say, oh, well, it's not that simple. But is it truly that simple? Is it truly better to give than to receive? And when you give out of we, here, for you and for me. But for you first. That art and that magnetics of love. That giving is, of what teaches, of what Jesus taught, Allah taught, Krishna taught, Buddha taught. All these ancient scholars, all these ancient mystics, all these ancient yogis, all these ancient intellectuals taught the art of how we all become one soul. But in this world, there is an energetic force that keeps everybody from being one soul. And that is the resistance at play. And that is the field that we live in. Through all spirituality. They're from, like I said, Christian, Buddhism, Muslim, Tantric, Vedic scriptures, Tibetan scriptures, Sumerian texts, Egyptian texts. They all teach of a war. There's a spiritual war going on. There's a war between light and dark, good and bad. That is the beginning of spirituality. So when we enter into this realm as material, subjected to the energy, subjected to the invisible world that physicists and science manipulate for their own personal needs, when we enter into this worldly universal experience that's atomic and subatomic, we're entering a spiritual battlefield. And within this battlefield, within this war, we are destined. We are given no choice but to pick a side, naturally or unnaturally. Because our thoughts, our emotions, our choices, they all either exude light and love and growth and harmony, or they emit darkness, destruction, hate, gloom, murder, violence, selfishness, division. And through our decisions and through the choices that we make, we inevitably pick a side. But is there a way to remain neutral? Is there a way to have a gray area in this war? is it possible that those that believe they're neutral are really pawns, as we all are pawns, but are pawns on the chess game of black and white, of the opposite ends of spectrum, opposite ends on the spectrum of spirituality and energy. And that is a very, very interesting concept to ruminate on, because for us, most are oblivious of the spiritual workings and the mechanics within the underworld and the overworld that we live in. And we think that some people may think that no deed goes unpunished, or some deeds do go unpunished. And when everything is an energetic exchange, when everything is a light, when everything is constantly in motion, when the body emits an electromagnetic field, and every electromagnetic field emanates light. And so every individual's personality, their aura, their essence of themselves has a light. And light is proven to travel at 186 miles per second. So when our bodies are constantly in a state of travel, energetically, where are we traveling to as light? Are we traveling towards the dark? Or are we traveling towards the point of infinity where light continues? And that is also, and don't get me wrong, there are frequencies. There are different dimensions of light. And it's where we emit, it's where we vibrate on. So the separation in itself within science is based on frequency and everything of that nature. And a lot of these things are very abstract, and is abstracted from our understanding and knowing. However, we don't have to settle for not caring or not trying to be in a state of love and light, or make that our objective in life, which a lot of religions and practices help people. They give them a routine of it, a rhetoric, at one could say, and that helps them get back to their supplemental, their perspective of love, their vibratory frequency of love, which is harmony and bond. So that is I would say the murky part of knowing what is it that separates you and I, and finding that balance and finding that collective identity within who we truly are as existing souls, as existing beings. So the ego, being the device of division, is something that we cannot escape in this world unless we do lots of training and lots of ego death and shroom ego deaths and everything of that nature. However, is that the secret? Is that the knowledge that the darkness doesn't want to give us? Is how to get rid of I, the serpent. How do we get rid of the serpent within us? How do we cancel out the sense of self and replace it with the sense of we? Is that even possible? Now, some people um, disregard the concept of intuition. And I've had conversations with multiple people, and they will talk about science, and I'll push my, not push, but express my beliefs that a lot of science is modern day mysticism, and that it comes from a mystical, intuitive place. That these people who have innovated these technologies and these formulas and these theories, it came to them intuitively, it came to them without them even knowing. It came to them to this channel, this creative force, this this intelligent force, as some people call it, the collective unconscious, the Holy Spirit. It came from this force, and it inhabited them with this knowledge. And so in those conversations, I'll say that that is intuitive. That's intuition. That is a knowing without really not knowing how you know, but you know. Telling yourself when you walk out the door, I feel like I'm forgetting something. You get somewhere and you're like, oh, well, I forgot my wallet. I knew it. I knew I forgot my wallet. And it's that, and it's a fearlessness involved with intuition. It's something that you know is best for you, or you know a knowledge that is, it's not detrimental to your survival, but it's detrimental to your growth as energy, as a frequency. That's intuition. That is what I describe intuition. Now, instinct is fearful. Instinct is survival, where you walk down a dark alley and you get this weird vibe, this stomach cramping of, oh no, I don't think I should be doing this. Or you're driving, you get this stomach cramping, man, maybe I should slow down. And you slow down and something happens and somebody cuts you off and you never slow down. It could hurt you. That's survival. Your instinct has its own intuition to it, but that's fear. That comes from fear, that comes from a lower region of your body. And it's also amazing because there's dualism in everything. So there's two sides. And that other side of intuition is that fearfulness, that trauma, that from your human experience that is built over time. And that will prevent you from doing something through instinct. However, your intuition transcends your trauma, transcend your fearfulness, transcend your human experience to something that you never knew, that is brilliant to you, that's given to you from nowhere. And that you know and you understand. And you may be able to rewrite your instinct, rewrite your trauma to where that it doesn't affect your body in the same way. So, living more from intuition, back to the point of what separates you and I, living more from intuition, I feel, is we seeing things beyond the ego, because it wasn't premeditated, it wasn't wheeled. It wasn't wheeled through thought conception, through meditation, through rumination. It was so natural and organic, as if it was out of body. And I think that the intuition and the instinct does fall on the spectrum of the spiritual battlefield that we're enduring. And in order to persevere this spiritual battlefield, it's how do you endure life? How do you endure every day? How do you experience yourself? Are you animalistic? Are you more instinctual in survival mode? Or are you more mental and energetic and seeing things from beyond your bodily desire, holding holding celibacy, holding appetite, and using those cravings to think and see above it, numbing the body with understanding. And either way, in this life, we have to pick a side. You have to put an intention within love and light, or darkness and destruction. For some reason, we are forced to pick a side. Can we ever break out of this cycle of dualism? Is seeing things from a one perspective breaking dualism to where that we don't have to be so ironic. We don't have to contradict ourselves no more. How do we silence and kill our ego and live from a supplemental mind state? Is that even possible? Is it even possible to comprehend how we have entered this battlefield? These are things we have to ask ourselves. Maybe some people don't ask themselves. Maybe these are things that some people talk about over drugs or on shrooms or senile or schizophrenic. But for me, I speak on these things from reading quantum physics, from reading esoterics and tarot and Kabbalah, from reading psychology, from reading history. Like, my concepts come from a place of curiosity, curious intelligence, from wanting to know, bridging the gap between knowledge and belief, and understanding the power of belief, the power of knowledge, the power of intuition, the power of mind, the power of concentration, the power of volition, power of observation, power of imagination, power of dreams, power of synchronicity, the power of serendipity. Really sitting back and contemplating these things, because this is what connects me to all. This is what connects you to all. Sitting back, contemplating these things, building an affinity. But I don't know. These are concepts that flood my mind. These are intuitive knowings that I'm downloaded to. And one more concept is that even in this spiritual battlefield, is it possible that everybody has a creative intelligence? Is it possible that on either side of the spectrum in this war, there is a creative intelligence attributed specifically to you? That some people are naturally intuitive. They naturally know everything about spirituality. They naturally know everything about violence, murder, death. Some people naturally know everything about food or science. Everybody naturally knows everything about love and romance. And that there's specific frequencies or specific roles being played, like in astrology and all those archetypes, for everybody to have this invisible intelligence given to them. And some fall off different on the Richter. But also, is it possible to utilize other channels, light or dark? Is it possible to to connect with these channels and find a new creative intelligence that is a creative force of intelligence that some call the Holy Spirit, some call the collective, some call ancestors. I feel this is a good place to stop for today and to really meditate on this, muse on these concepts of what does it mean to be different. Does the soul really connect us? Is the soul truly who we are? Is who we are really something of one nature? Is who we are really singularity? Is us, is being in existence the objective and everything else subjective? The material, the light and the dark, is that all the subjectivity of the singularity? Balancing the whole vibrations to everybody. I send peace and love and faith, good deeds, good intentions, prayer, silence, understanding, and rebirth. I hope everybody rebirths themselves daily, grows, expands their identity, challenges themselves, thinks a little bit deeper to grasp that control of the body. Until next time.